For some of you, I've heard that you weren't going to be able to make the session live. We will make sure to add this session to the classroom so you can go back and you can watch this over again if need be. Also got some slides here that I want to share with you. So let me go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I want to dive right in, and I want to talk to you about something that I see as being a pretty consistent challenge that home services businesses and contractors are facing as it relates to generating more revenue for the business. The consistent scenario that you guys probably find yourself in is either a potential lead comes into the business by way of social media. Maybe they found you on a website, and so they submit a form. Maybe they pick up the phone and they call you. I don't know, maybe they send a carrier pigeon over to your business. But one way or another, a lead presents itself to you. And for most of you, that process then involves you going out and doing an estimate for that homeowner. So you walk that job, you take all your measurements, you build some relationship with them, you get everything that you need, you present a quote to them either on the spot or after the fact, and then you hope that they make a decision. Right? That's kind of the common workflow. Again, that's a little bit generalized, but that is a scenario that I see time and time again in the industry, and that is one that we are working to consistently improve. How to get in front of the right types of opportunities. That means the right types of homeowners, the right types of decision makers, to present the best possible solution to that individual, to ensure that they're understanding of your value proposition and that they truly do have a need that you can solve for, a dream that you can help them to fulfill. And then you are closing as many of those opportunities down, really getting to the decision, even if it's a no. We just don't want to be in pipeline purgatory, meaning we just don't want a bunch of leads sitting in our pipeline, open estimates, and we don't know what to do with them. So we talked specifically about filling the funnel, moving deals along in the funnel, and closing them out. And you're going to find resources in the classroom on that, in the forums on that, some of the tools and resources that we create, and then in these trainings. So today we're going to talk specifically about one area, and so I want to just open up with a scenario for you, and then we'll get into this. And this is going to be very practical, so make sure that you could take some notes, because I'm sure you're going to be able to apply this to your business. Whether you're a roofer, you're an HVAC, you are a plumber, you are a garage door company, whatever it may be. If you're in the trades, if you're in the home services business, this will definitely apply to you. Okay, so here's a real scenario that I'm sure most of you have lived. And I'm just going to do this from the context of HVAC, but again, you can insert yourself into this anywhere you like. So you get a phone call, and the customer, the homeowner on the other end of the phone says, so my air conditioning is failing. It's just not working out right. And so I gave you guys a call because I heard you did some good work. I found your site online. I found your social media profile online. And so I'm looking to get quotes. So can you provide a quote to me? This exact situation happens again in the roofing business, in the plumbing business, unless there's an urgent need, right? If a pipe burst and they're just dying to get somebody out there, that's a little bit different. But for most of you, it's not quite that urgent. But this is the exact situation, and this is where so many deals are won or lost, right here. Not because of your service, but because of how you are leading this conversation from the get-go. So what is the reality here? What are we constantly seeing, or what am I constantly seeing? I am seeing that more often than not, my clients that I work with in this industry, they are losing deals not on price, but on a lack of clarity. They're not losing because most of the clients I work with are not the bottom of the barrel, low price leaders. They are mid to premium tier businesses. They do great work in the marketplace. They've got a lot of experience in the industry. And so they're able to get a median to upper echelon of a price for their work. And that runs the gamut of a lot of people that I talk to. But The reality of the situation is when that homeowner calls you and says, "Hey, my AC is failing. I'm looking to get it replaced." They haven't yet chosen the cheapest option. They've actually they're sitting in a place of uncertainty. The customer did not say no to you yet. They said, "Give me what you got and I'm going to get back to you." And in my mind, this is the first place that we need to consider our approach. We need to consider our process. You didn't get rejected when they said, "I'm going to go out and shop it around." You got confusion. They're going out and shopping because they don't know what to do other than to shop around because that's what they've either been told to do or that's what they've done in the past in some other instance when they were buying a TV, when they were buying a car. People just are conditioned to shop around unless we provide a lot more clarity to them. The old way, in the way that traditionally in this scenario of the HVAC company, the old way that this deal is typically sold is the homeowner calls, and on the other end of the line, the customer service person, the salesperson, the estimator, the technician, even, whether it's on the phone or out on site, what typically happens is you explain your service. This is what we can provide to you. You talk about the features. Oh, here's the latest, greatest technology, the remote, smart, more efficient, faster, stronger, quieter, simpler, smoother, whatever it may be. They talk about the features. And then they send a quote, right? I did my measurements. I gave you all of the information and I send a quote out to you. And then you hope you get a call back because they've been conditioned to pick up the phone and call two, three, four, five more vendors, to pick up the phone or to open up their social media, open up Facebook, look in their local community pages for two, three, or five more recommendations. They're going to run the gamut. And that may, in fact, be the case. We can't necessarily prevent them from doing that, but we can elevate the um, frequency by which they come back to us. And that's what we're trying to do. We can't just hope that we get a call back. If you have downloaded our quote conversion blueprint and used the custom GPT, you will see that we believe deeply in following up. That is one of the ways you are losing out on opportunities. But if you have done a poor sales presentation, if you've you built some rapport with the client, but if you just flipped an email over to them with the estimate attached to it, you're in big trouble. If you've just talked about the features and benefits, you're in big trouble. So here's what a typical pitch sounds like in this old way, in this old case scenario, which is not converting near enough opportunities. I mean, you're here listening, you're watching because you want to generate more revenue. You want to generate more closed deals for yourself. And by the way, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, anything like that, feel free to drop those into the chat. By the way, I saw one already and it asked, do we integrate with Job Nimbus? I am familiar with the platform. I have not used it personally, but for clients that we do custom consulting for, we can absolutely help you to build out our systems right into your platform. We've done that with House Call Pro, which I know that Job Nimbus looks similar-ish to House Call Pro in terms of its features and benefits. We've done this with HubSpot. We've done this with Service Titan. So we've done this with quite a few different systems, and Job Nimbus would be no different. Obviously, a little bit of a different look, but we can do that. So great question there. So when in the previous scenario, in the old world, in the typical status quo way of pitching, here is what this typically sounds like. Homeowner reaches out, asks for a quote, do all your measurements, You come up with your solution, and here's what you typically say, something to the effect of, all right, we've recommended a 3-ton unit for you. It's high efficiency, 16 SEER, variable speed, super quiet. It's got a 10-year warranty attached to it. We're going to come in, we're going to remove the entire old system. We're going to install the new one. We're going to haul it all away for you. We're going to ensure that our techs are clean, tidy, on time. We are going to make sure that we take care of you. We truly believe that we are the best in the marketplace. And all of that is only going to cost you $11,800. I'll email that quote over to you now. Make sure to check that out and then get back to me when you're ready to move forward. Sound familiar? I mean, this is what happens a lot, right? And there's nothing unprofessional about this. But look at what this starts to create. This creates curiosity. This creates stalls in the decision-making process. This creates a focus on price. And if you have ever won a job in your lifetime in this business or any business you've ever been a part of, and you have not been the lowest price and still won the job, that should give you the confidence to know that customers never make a decision solely based on price. And if, in the instances, if there are ones that do, those are probably not the clients that you want to do business with. There are plenty of customers out there that are not going to chase you to the bottom because there are other things that we are looking for if we actually look for them. You see, the reason why the customer shops, why the decision stalls, and why price becomes such a central focus is because the contractor did the majority of the talking. The estimator did the majority of the talking. They told the customer exactly what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, when they were going to do it, and why they were going to do it. There probably wasn't a whole lot of urgency created. Even if at the time of the estimate, the measurement, there was some urgency and interest, when you deliver the estimate, there was no urgency there. Which means, in my opinion, there's no real leadership shown. You're giving the reins over to the customer to make the decision instead of you staying in control of the sales conversation. And so what's going to happen? The customer is going to go out and shop on price. And what you will find, which I'm sure you found very, very often, is they end up going with one of the last people that they talk to because they'll keep calling until they get somebody that says something they like. And even if that other person is a little bit higher in price, the customer just says, "Oh, I really would love to go with you. But I talked to, John's HVAC and they said that they could do this for 11,800. You're at 12,500. Do you think you could match that?" And and this guy says, "You know what? I wouldn't go with John's. We're going to provide better this, that, and the other thing. But here's what I'll do. I'll meet you in the middle. How about 12,100? $300. I don't have to call it. Yeah, you know what? Let's move forward." When you lead with features, when you lead with benefits, the customer leads the decision. And that is not what we want to do. We have got to shift. We've got to shift. We need to understand that our job is not to convince them to buy from us. Our job is to lead them down the path that will create the best opportunity for them, which in fact then will create the best opportunity for us. Okay. So here is how I would begin to reframe that situation. And again, I'm gonna start to get even more practical. Hope you're taking notes. Like, man, I kind of do that too. Oh, I kind of say similar things to that too. So here's where this shift begins to happen. Same HVAC situation, same house, same system, same price, but a different approach. We're not changing the equipment. We're not changing what we're providing to them. Great question. Somebody just jumped in and said, "How do you suggest building urgency?" Here you go. This is where we're going to get there. So just be prepared for this. So we begin to build urgency by having the right framework for how we handle the sales conversation. And the proper way to handle the sales conversation is to control the problem, is to communicate and illuminate the cost of inaction. It's to create a simple path forward for them and to offer them a clear next step. So you're going to hear the same scenario that I just talked about, right? The same one that I gave you earlier. Here's what we can do. Here's how we can do it. Here's how much it's going to cost you. But now want to follow this framework. We're going to start with problem control. Okay. We start by saying, before we talk about equipment, let me make sure we're clear on the real issue that you're experiencing here. Because what we usually see with systems like yours is that they don't just stop cooling. It's that beyond just stopping cooling, they're actually costing you way more every single month, and they're not keeping the house comfortable. You see, I went beyond just speaking to the need. Even when they say, I've got money, I need to replace my system. I need to go deeper. I need to help them understand that the problem is wider than just the fact that right now their HVAC is on the fritz. A leak in the roof isn't just about patching the roof. It's about protecting the carpet, protecting the walls, ensuring the security of the home, preventing mold that's going to cost more and more problems down. This is where we begin to build authority, is when we start to use our area of expertise and previous experience to communicate to that individual what we see could be the bigger problem at hand. And what we're trying to do is get buying signals from them, to get some alignment from them. So, again, before we talk about equipment, let's make sure that we're clear in the real issue that you're dealing with here. You see, if it's just about an equipment purchase, they're just going to value it based on the equipment. But if we can help tie it to the true problem and maybe multiple problems that they're facing, they see more value in us being able to solve more problems. More value solving more problems allows us to get a premium price and allows us to anchor them in a little bit more quickly. So that, Sean, is where we start to create more urgency, is when we start to illuminate the problem and uncover additional problems that they could be experiencing in their decision. Whoever defines the problem controls the sale. And as experts, we have the ability to, again, expand on the problem to better define what it is they're really feeling, seeing, experiencing. So we start with problem control. Okay. Then the second step of the framework. This is talking about the fact that if nothing changes, this is typically what's going to happen. This is the cost of inaction. And so I would continue on with that prospect after I've shared with them the problems and I've gotten them to respond to me. I don't just go right into this. I wait for them to respond. And then I would say something like this. You know what? Based upon all that, all those challenges that you're facing, if nothing changes, here's typically what's going to happen. Your electric bill, it's definitely going to keep climbing. And on top of that, you're going to start to see more frequent problems. They'll start small, but could eventually get larger as time goes on. And honestly, most homeowners are just going to end up replacing the system anyway. But they're going to do that after just one more emergency repair that they didn't plan to pay for. And then you're going to pause. This is not fear-based selling. This is reality-based clarity. My wife just took our car in for service, for an oil change and tire rotation. And we're coming up on the 60,000 mile service in the vehicle. And I'm also counting the cost, or weighing my options around purchasing a new vehicle. So my wife actually told them, you know what, we're going to hold off on the 60,000 mile service for the time being because we're considering maybe purchasing a new vehicle. And you want to know what the service guy's response was? Okay, yep. Let us know if you decide you want to go ahead and move forward with the service. I was like, what? If I was the service guy and I ran that dealership, I would have trained my service guy to say, oh, you're looking to purchase a new vehicle? You know what? Let me, while you're sitting here waiting for your vehicle, let me connect you with one of our top sales guys that can just answer any questions you have about the purchase of a new vehicle and see if maybe we have some options available for you. And he said nothing. He totally missed out on the opportunity to sell right on the spot. But again, what we're doing here is we're trying to help them understand that there is a cost of inaction. You called me because you wanted to replace the AC. But now, because of the cost, maybe you're going to put it off a little bit longer. But do you understand that by putting it off, your bills are going to start to increase? Repairs, electricity, you're going to create more issues for yourself. You're going to create more expenses for yourself. The cost of inaction is your replacement that you're going to end up doing anyway is going to be more expensive. You guys, urgency, and this is back to Sean's question, which was such a great one. Urgency often comes in the buying process from understanding the consequences, not from pressure to make a decision. We're trying to push them. We try to discount. We try to create like, oh well, if you do it now, to benefit us. But what we really want to do is we really want to show them what it's going to cost them to hold off even just another day. That's step 2 in the framework. Step 3. By the way, I hope this is really valuable for you. This is the type of stuff that we are regularly sharing in this community. I have videos in the classroom that offer lots of resources like this, quick 4 or 5 minute videos, longer videos. We're doing more consistent trainings. When you join our accelerator, that's a 30-day program that we do once a week where you get on live calls with me and we not only diagnose the challenges you're facing in these areas, but we build this with you. So we have a lot of this available to our members, whether you're in at the free tier or you move into the premium or VIP tiers of the community. So there's a lot of these resources that are available, and a little more coming. Okay. Step 3 of this framework is we need to offer a simple path forward. We need to communicate to this potential client how we normally solve this and how we do that step by step. So it would look something like this. I would say, so homeowner, the way we solve this problem is pretty straightforward. First, we want to size your system correctly because that's where most installs fail. Second, we install high efficiency units designed to lower your monthly costs. We actually think that we can reduce your current electricity bill by putting a more efficient system in. And then third is we set this entire thing up so you're not dealing with surprise repairs anymore. And in the event that you do run into an issue at some point in the future, we guarantee our work. So we will be back here to make sure that your system continues to be up and running, just as you've expected when you purchased it from us in the first place. If you notice what's missing, tech specs, jargon, it's overwhelm. When you tell me that you have a 1600 SEER unit, a 2.5 ton, I don't know what that is. Sure, I've researched that information online, so I think I don't know. And guess what? All I want is an air conditioning unit that is going to cool my home and keep it cool, not break down, especially in the blazing hot sun, or heat my home in the freezing cold winter, and does that in the most cost effective manner possible. That's what I want. Tell me how I can get that. Well, it's by being this simple, offering a simple path forward. Stop overdoing it with all the technicalities and all the jargon. They don't know it anyway. Simple plans, offering straightforward pathways to success. And for them, success is I got a great unit from a great provider at a great price. That type of success feels safe. Great question. Our VIP tiers for the premium tier, if that's something that you're involved or interested in, is $97 a month or $970 for the year. Our VIP tier, which includes private coaching on a weekly basis from me, is $497 a month or $49.70 for the year. And you can find all that in the member section of the community. So thanks for asking that as well. Okay, let's move on. So that was step 3 of the framework. Step 4, this is where we win or lose. So we've been building, right? We've been building clarity. We've been building urgency. Now I want to offer a clear next step. Here's my next step. Which direction makes best sense to you? Here's something along the lines of what I would probably say. So, Mrs. Homeowner, the next step, it's pretty simple. We can schedule the install for early next week, and we can lock in the pricing that I've shared with you today. And if now's not the right time, I completely understand. I'd rather you decide with clarity than rush it. So, which direction feels right for you? And then shut up. The reason we want to ask that question, we do not want to say, "Are you ready to move forward?" Because that is a yes or no question. Most buyers are conditioned to say no, and you are almost guaranteed to get a no, I'm not ready to move forward, which you're going to respond, okay, great, let me know when you're ready. You've just gotten put into purgatory. But when I ask the question of which direction feels right to you, what we're probably going to get is some sort of response that sounds a little bit like this. Well, yep, everything you shared, that's exactly what we're after. But I've got to check with my spouse. Or yeah, you know what? That's all. That's actually that's exactly what we were hoping to be able to get. But I still want to call a couple of other companies to get some quotes from them. Why is that so important? It's important because I want to hear them affirm what I have presented to them or tell me that what I've presented to them is not exactly what they want so I can make adjustments on the fly. That's first. Secondly, when they, which is going to be very likely to happen, when they tell me they are not ready yet, I want to, in the moment, be able to then ask the question, okay, so when do you see yourself making this decision? Or I completely understand that you're looking to get additional quotes. What are you hoping to accomplish by getting multiple quotes for this work? Ask questions to better understand what their buying process looks like. If they say to you, "Yeah, I'm looking to get other prices." Okay, it is. Was the price that I presented to you, was it not within your budget? You know what? I completely understand that, that it's really important to ensure that you get the best possible deal, for, or for what you're about to purchase. If you were to get a lower price, how are you gonna be certain that you're getting everything that you want, with that price? Because what I've found is is that oftentimes people will undercut a previous quote by cutting key things out that they may not actually even share with you that you didn't know were going to be beneficial to you when you install a system like this. So I'm offering a clear next step. And when I hit the roadblock, I am there to answer their questions. Remember, we need to control this conversation. We need to control this situation all the way through. I've heard from some of you that I've been on calls with recently that there are some sales trainers, some programs out there really trying to push you folks into one call closes. I understand the desire, the need, and the urgency to want to close on the spot. And if the opportunity properly presents itself, that is great. But you need to be so careful as not to pressure people into telling you no, when if you would have given them a little bit of time, they would have told you yes. So if we follow this framework and we ask the right questions, and then we have a professional follow up process that we execute on properly, we are going to significantly increase the likelihood of them saying yes to us. I mean, think about it. What does one more job a week booked mean to you? Two more jobs a week. I've got one client that we are booking on average 5 to 6 additional jobs a week by cleaning up the sales conversation and building a tight follow up process. Just those two things. We didn't spend any more money on ads. We didn't drive any more leads. We tightened what we already had. You don't need to keep spending more money to pour more gasoline onto a fire that's already out of control. Control the fire. So in this scenario, what changed? Well, fewer words. I mean, this is the same contractor selling the same system at the same price, but they just had more control. There was a clear sense of leadership. Do you know that when you speak to that homeowner, they're expecting you to be the expert? This is one of the reasons, by the way, that um, uh, for you that have a real company and aren't just a one-off working out of the back of your beat up Chevy pickup truck, which if that's you, I get it. You're just getting started, but you're constantly in fear of being cut by the guy that shows up a mess, um, just running by flying by the seat of his pants, winging things, but he's going to offer the lowest price. Do you know that most homeowners don't actually want to choose that person? But they didn't see enough differentiation between you and that person. And so it just came down to price. I don't need to pressure somebody into making a decision when I carry myself in a professional manner. When I clearly communicate the value proposition and I tie that to the true needs of that buyer. When customers are clear, they shop much less. And even when they do shop, they typically come back to the one that created the greatest sense of confidence, that was the most clear, that was the most professional. When customers are clear on what you offer to them, on what you'll do for them, on what your process looks like, they will come back to you time and time again. Confidence is not about getting excited. Confidence is not about being this prolific sales professional. Confidence is about certainty. They need to be certain in the decision they're about to make to invest in you. And the great thing is this doesn't even need to be a salesperson out there delivering this. We are training technicians, service technicians that are in the weeds every single day to go out and have these same conversations with a lot of success. What's my point? My whole point to this is you need to remove confusion and you need to create certainty. Less is more. But it's not just about paring it down. It's about making sure that the less I do is the right thing, the right things, that I'm driving the right points home, that I'm connecting in the right way. Remove confusion, create certainty in this process. So as I land this plane, I want to challenge you. If you're listening right now live, if you are going to be listening to this recording, I want to challenge you to go back and look at your last couple of sales calls. And I want you to evaluate how you did. I want you to evaluate what you asked and what you said. This framework, again, you can go back and reference this recording over and over again. This framework right here, controlling the problem, the cost of inaction, the simple path forward, and the clear next step. This is so easy, you guys, but it's going to require you to take a good look at yourself and determine whether or not you're actually doing it. And then go use this on your next call. But I know that many of you come in here, you listen to something like this, and you're like, I'm going to overhaul it all. Don't do that. Keep it simple. The whole pitch here for this specific training was to create predictable pipelines. Well, predictable pipelines start with predictable conversations. The question is, are you creating predictable conversations? So I challenge you to get out there, to have a sales conversation that follows this framework, to build a sales conversation, practice it, and then go out there and execute on it that follows this framework. And if you have questions, whether it's you want to have me or somebody in the community look at your current sales conversation, to look at your current sales process, we can do that. Be more than happy to do that. If you want to hop on a one-to-one call for me, that's the stuff that's available to our premium tier members. But feel free to post that stuff in the forum. If you have a question, you can DM me directly in the forum. I'd be more than happy to help you there as well. My goal this year for 2026, as it relates to this community, is to build the premier community that enables contractors and home services businesses to build robust pipelines that convert at rates unlike anything else in the marketplace. You don't need PE money injected into your business in order to succeed. You need to continue doing the right thing with the right people as often as you possibly can. And it starts by looking at a system like this, looking at a framework like this, and making the small tweaks so you can do more of what I know you got into business to do in the first place, which was to go out and help the homeowners have a better experience in their home. So with that, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you participating. I appreciate you being here. Like I said, put your questions into the forum. Happy to answer them there. You can DM me in the forum as well in the community if you need something. Other than that, have an incredible finish to this first full week of 2026. Look forward to seeing you guys back in here really, really soon for the Predictable Pipeline Power Hours. Those are going to be kicking off here in the next 2 weeks. So thank you guys so much. Peace.